Oh, don't do that.
Hey guys, Handy Andy down here at Discover Aquatic Shop. We got an awesome order in this morning. One of my favorites, a varicoses stonefish. Stella's calling. Anyway, so I'm gonna grab him out, put him in the tank. I prefer to use my hands with these guys. They are deadly, the deadliest fish in the ocean, but they've got a lot of spikes on them that get caught in nets, so that's why I do this. So without further ado, let's take a peek in here. And those spikes are actually on the top of the dorsal spines there. So as long as you get up underneath them, they're fine. They're not gonna get you. But here he is, look at how beautiful he is. And there he goes in the water. And a lot of people end up stepping on these. That's where the issues arise. They blend in with a rock and then they come right on top there and just squash right down on top. And that's where the venom will get you.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, there we go.
So this here is our blue ring octopus. That was Andrew giving him a little motivation to get out of the bag here.
Very carefully.
Very carefully, yes. But you can see he is absolutely beautiful. So there's actually 4 species of blue ring octopus. I believe it's mostly locality based, but this one is out of Bali. You can see when he's mad, that's when he really flashes those blue, turns on the blue rings.
It's crazy how small these are. I think a lot of people think of octopus and maybe even squids as huge giant creatures, but this guy maybe the size of a in between a golf ball and a baseball, all in.
Yeah, and he's probably pretty much full grown. The blue rings actually have a slightly longer lifespan than most octopus. They can live up to 3 years.
They are venomous, but they have to actually bite you. And actually a pretty gentle creature. They're not one of those where you think of like a cobra as being venomous and trying to bite everything. These guys are pretty peaceful when it comes to their aggression level.
Yeah, certainly don't recommend it, but there are lots of viral clips of people unknowingly picking them up, thinking they're just a pretty little guy.
One of these days, I'm gonna get a video of it. I think my ex-wife would really like that.
Yeah, please don't die, but also put me in your will.
Sounds good.
All right, then this is just some more footage of all these guys while we had them in the acclimation buckets. These stonefish, you can really see like the coralline camouflage that the one on the right has, the orange spots, and then like the modeling. Really, if these guys were on a rocky beach, you would not see them at all.
There's the blue ring again. You can see the size being pretty small there, but yeah, this was us getting them in, unboxing, just kind of getting them acclimated to the area. Yeah, we like getting a lot of the neat different things in. You see an orange toad, a red scorpion fish there from the Caribbean.
Also venomous, but a whole lot less so.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a sting from one of those over, say, the stonefish.
Yeah, it'll ruin your day, but it won't ruin your life.
Yeah, that's... I
just love this blue ring. He's so pretty.
It's cool seeing the blue get intensified as it goes and the mood changes, and you see, give a little flick to the stick there of "get away from me."
Yeah, yeah. And these guys actually, I mean, definitely don't recommend these to beginners at all. But they are fairly easy to keep. Like the stonefish, they get about a foot long, but they could live happily in something like a 75-gallon. Because in the wild, they're living up on the beaches. I mean, in tide pools, they can actually be exposed to air for several hours at low tides. That's how people step on them, is walking on rocky shores at low tide.
You see me picking this one up here. Just as long as you get up underneath them, those dorsal spines are on the top. That's where people step on them. But they've got nothing underneath them there where I'm holding them that's going to do any sort of damage. That's why I'm picking them up with my hand right there. Just, you get the nets in there and they've got the dorsal spines, and the pectoral fins have a little bit of a spike to them as well, and they can get tangled up in that net fairly easily, and then they start tearing their spines and the inner webbing between them.
And then you have to untangle a stonefish from a net,
which is something I don't want to do. So it's actually easier to pick them up with your hand, getting up underneath them gently like that, than it is to try and get them in a net and wrangle them around.
Yeah, they really like to flatten themselves too with those big pectoral fins. They'll anchor themselves to the bottom. So they're not one that'll like really flop around or roll around in your hand or anything. They will pretty much stay still once you pick them up.
But back to the size of the tank. I mean, these guys are kind of like lionfish where, you know, you get a 3 or 4 inch tang and they're back and forth all day long zooming around the tank, where these guys here are totally content to just either plop on a rock or in the sand right at the bottom and aren't really interested in swimming around all the time. They just like to just kind of park it and chill and wait for their next meal to swim by.
I absolutely love this blue ring octopus, but that does it for today's video.
Stay tuned next week. We got a whole lot of neatness coming from LA. Nick and I are flying out there, so our adventures in LA will be up in the coming weeks.
Thanks for watching, everybody.